welcome to Lost in Movies. I'm Alec Kerr, the film critic for the Conway Daily Sun, once again joined by
Tranifer Lovely.
And this week we are reviewing Scream 4, director Wes Craven and screenwriter Kevin Williamson's fourth entry into their self-satirical horror franchise. Later on, we're going to be going to our comments and getting people's thoughts on what their favorite scary movie is, and we will also be talking about other slasher movies. But first, check out the trailer.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Here is my Woodsboro Massacre anniversary question. What is your favorite scary movie?
What's your favorite scary movie?
One generation's tragedy is the next one's a joke.
What is your favorite scary movie, man?
I'll show you.
This week marks the anniversary of the infamous Woodsboro murders. Local celebrity victim Sydney Prescott chose to return to her hometown.
Welcome home, Sydney. Watch the preview of coming events.
What do you want?
Who is this?
He's trying to do Ghostface.
I'm standing in the closet.
Liar. Dewey, what's going on?
It is not public information.
It's all over the internet.
It is?
There's a killer out there patterning his murders after the original movie.
It's time for someone new to die.
The unexpected is the new cliche.
And virgins can die now.
Does that mean that I'm not gonna live as long as these two?
Clearly. To be the new version, the killer should be filming the murders.
Dale! Dale, behind you!
Go ahead if you have the guts.
Not to implicate him. You can't kill Sydney. She's victim royalty.
Not true. Sid's expendable.
Point taken. Guaranteed third act main cast bloodbath.
Fingers crossed on some nudity for a change.
Time for your last question. Name the remake of the groundbreaking...
Halloween, Texas Chainsaw, Dawn of the Dead, The Hills Have Eyes, Amityville Horror, Black Christmas, House of Wax, Hot Night, My Bloody Valentine. It's one of those, right?
None of the above.
I'll be right back. I know this one. You're not supposed to say that, are you?
You should have seen the look on your face.
So Scream 4 basically, in my opinion, made up for where the third one fell short. It was very compelling, driving, funny, and it made a lot of kind of nerdy references to old horror movies, which as a big giant slasher fan, I personally appreciated. It did start to slow down towards the end. I won't get too into it as to not give away the big twist, but it does kind of start to fall short eventually, but I was entertained through it.
I did enjoy it. I do think it's definitely an improvement from the third one. It was horrible. The third one didn't really have a reason for existing.
Exactly.
The first one, obviously, it was the first of its kind. It was doing the whole self-satire thing, being a parody of the horror genre while still being within the horror genre.
And it was almost like a social commentary on all horror films. It's like a walk through. Here's the formula.
Here's
follow
all the
it.
rules.
Exactly. And now we're giving new rules.
Right. And then the first sequel was playing off of satirizing sequels.
Exactly.
And that was fun. But the third one didn't have a reason to exist.
No, the third one was serious. It wasn't funny.
Right.
It was almost depressing.
Right.
Like, it's just Cindy being sad about her dead mom.
Right. And then in attempts to have humor in the third one, they throw in Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah,
and Carrie Fisher has a cameo. And it's just like, this is what you're doing to get laughs?
Yeah.
You're not getting it from where you're supposed to be getting the laughs from. I think it was really smart that they waited 11 years to make this one because it gave a reason for it to exist. In the last decade or so, things have changed, not just in the horror genre, but in society. In the horror genre, we've had the rise of the Saw franchise, which gets knocked directly. And we've had in the last decade, we've had basically every horror movie of the last 30 years has been remade. And in the trailer, they show how. So this is, as you've already seen, Hayden Panettiere goes through every remake that's happened.
It's fantastic.
Which is an impressive little scene.
I know. She's screaming and all angry, like, ah.
Riddling them all off. I was like, that's impressive.
Like, you go, girl.
Well done.
Nice match.
And then in society, well, obviously, in 2000, we didn't have YouTube. We didn't have
cell
Facebook.
phones.
We didn't have Twitter. And reality TV has taken an even bigger hold than it did in 2000. Yeah. So the ending, I think, is actually really on target and actually has something to say about our culture today, which was very unexpected. I'm like, you're actually making me think a little bit.
I know, which isn't pretty common for a slasher satirical film.
I was like, this is pretty good, and the opening, the opening was fantastic.
The opening was hilarious.
It was just and my only problem with it was that, with the exception of the beginning and the ending, I thought the middle
was very dry. Exactly.
Very dry. I liked the characters. I thought the characters were,
It brought the trilogy gang back together also, which was nice, while it still ushered in a new group of people.
Right. And I liked, as they weren't exactly well-developed characters,
but they were film.
But they were likable, and you had the film geeks that were kind of a stand-in for Jamie Kennedy, who was offed earlier in the series. But Eric Knudsen, I think his name is, and Rory Culkin, they were very funny.
Yeah.
And one of them has an actual camera on his head all the time, and he's constantly streaming, which is an interesting commentary.
This is Hall Pass.
Right, and that's an interesting commentary on what's going on with people and this need to constantly broadcast yourself.
Be seen.
If you're not seen, does it happen kind of thing.
Exactly.
And so I thought that was an interesting thing, and I thought Hayden Panettiere was pretty good.
Yeah.
And Emma Roberts, Julia's niece.
Courtney Cox was a little angrier than usual.
Yeah.
I felt she was kind of grouchy.
She was. I mean, she was upset. She's basically become a stay-at-home wife to David Arquette. And
who was awesome also, always. I love David Arquette.
And she's just a little bitter that, the new sheriff in town's not letting her do anything. And it's just like, what the heck? Yeah. Now I gotta go use these kids.
I'm going rogue.
I'm going rogue. I'm gonna use these kids and the internet. They're gonna help me.
The kid on the camera mustn't know what he's doing.
Yeah. So I did enjoy it, and going back to this one having a reason to exist, the first one was commenting on horror movies, second one was commenting on sequels, third one didn't have a reason to exist. This one's commenting on remakes, and it's kind of simultaneously a sequel to the original series and a remake.
Exactly.
And so that's kind of clever, and it's also, that plays into the ending, the idea of it being a remake. And
snap.
Yeah, it really is a very surprising ending, genuinely surprising.
It actually threw me off. I mean, I thought I had the whole thing formulated. I'm like, okay, I got it. They're walking through the whole thing. Then they're like, just kidding, here you go.
Yeah, it was in that respect, it was good. I definitely, it's probably the third best.
Yeah.
It's not quite up to 1 and 2, but.
Definitely.
I just wish the middle section wasn't so routine. As I said, I like the characters, but the kills were just very, very routine. It was very monotonous. It was just stab and move on, and move on.
And at one point, I was sitting there counting down 3, 2, 1. There's Ghostface and the stuff. It did get predictable at times.
Yeah, it wasn't. It lacked imagination. I was a little bit upset with that. Also liked Alison Brie in it. She was Nev Campbell's Sydney's publicist, and she gets just so excited when the killings start happening. It's like, yes.
Finally, something happens in this little town.
And we can spin this, and you're going to become super famous now. And it's just kind of an interesting commentary on the lengths people will go to be famous. Mm-hmm. And so I like the film on that level.
Yeah.
But it was reported that if this does well, they're going to do it as a new trilogy, and I'm not sure how they're going to do that, and we can't really say why.
Of this one, that doesn't make sense.
I'm not sure how they could do a new trilogy, and I'm glad, though, even though there are these plans to potentially make a new trilogy, that they did make this one self-contained.
Yeah,
and it is a standalone film.
Instead of just,
Instead of just the wink, wink, there's going to be a sequel.
Well, kind of like how they made fun of in the opening sequence where it's number 6, number 7, and it just keeps going and going. Right. It's just how many movies are there?
Right. So I do appreciate, because that's happens so much with these horror franchises of there's going to be a sequel.
Jason X.
Yeah. Jason X. Oh, God, we'll have to talk about that later. But I guess we're going to go to the comments where I did ask, what is your favorite scary movie?
What's your favorite scary movie?
Because it has to. It's the perennial question from the Scream franchise. So, got lots of responses here. Nikki, formerly of the morning show on Magic 104, now out in California, said, I guess Cujo, because it's not super scary, and you know I can't do scary movies. Brian from Schenectady said, my favorite scary movie is The Sixth Sense. Back in the day when before M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong became a living, breathing cinematic joke, his twist endings were actually surprising. But besides that, this movie just scared the crap out of me. First movie I saw that legitimately kept me up for nights for nearly a month after I saw it.
Did creep me out.
It's a creepy movie. Lauren from North Conway said The House on Haunted Hill, the newer one, scares me the most. There's just something about the darkness of the film that spooks me. Also, I'm afraid of the unknown or something that you can't see.
Ooh.
Which is definitely a staple of scary movies.
Definitely.
Stephanie from Concord said, I can't pick a specific movie, but I can pick a genre of scary movies I avoid. That's suspense movies like Paranormal Activity. I don't want to see it because I hate waiting for something to jump out for me. It raises my pulse, blood pressure, and stresses me out. So those movies are terrifying to me. Of course, that's kind of the whole reason you watch a horror movie, is to get your pulse up. And
that's true.
So,
but, you know, if you got a heart condition, don't watch it.
Yeah. And then Elizabeth from Lovell, my sister, says 28 Days Later, which is probably also my favorite scary movie. And she says Paranormal Activity scared the crap out of her.
Nothing scares me more than zombies that can run.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be able to run. That's not fair.
Martin from Lebanon said Event Horizon. I can never watch a movie with Sam Neill in it without remembering him ripping his eyeballs out. Yuck.
Ew.
Yuck. I haven't seen Event Horizon. I'm kind of curious now. Not because I want to see that, but I'm like, okay.
If that's in it, I wonder how the rest is.
Yeah. Natalie from Hull, England said Evil Dead 2 and makes sure to note groovy.
Groovy. Well put, lady.
Yes. Keeper from Kennebec, Maine said, well, when it comes to scary movies, I really don't like them at all. I had nightmares from when I was little watching Watership Down. It's pretty creepy. I don't know if it's considered a scary movie. It's about bunnies, and it's a very, very old cartoon. I do love horror comedies. Those I can handle. Watership Down is pretty disturbing, though.
I haven't seen it.
You should
bunnies?
Bunnies, but they kill each other, and there's blood and violence with bunnies. It's disturbing. For a little kid, it probably is a horror movie.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, exactly. Bunnies, bloody bunnies. It's disturbing. Meals from North Conway said The Portrait of Dorian Gray. Thought it was a scary thriller, especially for its day. I've read Portrait of Dorian Gray.
Me too. Haven't
It's pretty
seen
fantastic, but I have not seen it.
And it is a very creepy,
It's very
eerie.
creepy.